Wisdom in the bottle. Your mother's a whore. All right, so let's go ahead and open up another one here, yeah? All right. This is going to be just a little inaugural shot again before we get this ranting underway. So, as shall be, I hope nothing but the best to all of you. A long life of health, wealth, love, and happiness in all of your past, present, and future relationships together, and the same to friends and loved ones. Oh, yeah. I gotta say, I don't usually drink a lot of rum, but when I do, plantation or spiced rum, two of the best things you can get if you can't get your hands on some Cuban rum, which, believe me, it's worth the piracy. So, yeah, tonight, actually, it's about, kind of near closing time for the bar. But I just thought I did have an actual rant I want to go through tonight, and it came back to me a little bit earlier today, and it's something that's still pretty goddamn relevant somehow, even more so than it used to be, and that's rage. Not cage rage like we get with Nicolas Cage in the podcast, but just online raging. More specifically, gamer raging. And I kind of felt I wanted to say something about that because the old man in me really wants to do that. And I mean, fuck it. I just turned 40, so why the fuck not? Why not go into that territory again? But I've been playing MMOs and first-person shooters for a long time. I mean, hell, I remember when we got Doom for the first time on the old PC. That was back when our grandparents bought us one for my sister and I. They wanted it to be used for school, but they just happened to sneak in there a Command and Conquer video game, which was amazing to play, and also Doom. My sister got into Minesweeper. I got into Doom. But as soon as the Xbox and PlayStation started their battling out, and the PlayStation 2, I believe it was, when all that started coming up, that's about the time I started paying for Xbox Live. And that's when I got my friends to talk me into playing Halo 2. And I knew nothing about the storyline, anything about any of that shit. All I knew was I was having the time of my life playing a shooter with a bunch of people I did not know and two people from work who I did know who religiously shot the shit out of me every chance they got. And in fact, it's still one of my favorite memories is this was around Christmas time we were doing this. And we picked some level. I can't for the life of me remember because I haven't played that game in years. But it was a circular room. You had very limited space to move around. So, of course, someone's like, fuck it, why not bring a tank into the goddamn room? So they did. And you had all of us, even though we were on separate teams, all of us were holding on to this thing and singing the worst rendition of Deck the Halls you can imagine. It was just the funniest thing because none of us were shooting each other. We were just having the time of our lives riding this tank that should have been falling off the rails. But it was really super, super fun. And from that, I got into playing a lot more games online. And it was fun. However, you do learn something very early on, whether it's PlayStation or Xbox. More specifically, we're going to Xbox. But when you first get in to Xbox Live and you decide, I'm going to go and play a shooter with all these other people online, whether it was like with me, Halo 2, or eventually Call of Duty. When you make that decision in your life, you have just committed to growing a thicker skin. Because holy hell, did people love to tear your ass apart in that game. But it was fun. I mean, that's the thing that got me. It's like you kind of grew up back then, back in this time period, because I'm going to go way, way the hell back, like way back to the days when AOL was battling it out with CompuServe for dominance over who was going to be the internet provider or service for email and chat. Back in the day when when MTV would scroll chat room comments and shit on TV because it was such a novel idea. And this was a time none of us knew what the hell we were doing online. And I learned a really stupid lesson from a troll before there were even called trolls. And that was cussing people out online until one of you got kicked out. Kicked out was how it was put to me. How it was put to my dad was our account was banned. And I remember twice my dad would get pissed off at me or my sister because we would have fights online with people, and then one of us would inevitably end up cussing, and then boom, you got kicked out. And again, this was the early days when you only had one name for your internet group for everyone to get onto. So we all had to use my dad's login. But it taught us something. It taught us how people can be assholes and the fun you kind of have being an asshole too. So getting to play on Xbox Live with people and playing a shooter, it was fun. It was fun when it's fun, but you definitely could lose your shit. All right, like there's time. I'll admit I suck at most shooters. In fact, I still suck pretty damn badly at a lot of them. But I did learn through playing and getting better that I'm a good support player. I am not someone you want leading a mission unless you want us all to die. But I'm a pretty good support. I can guard post well, and for some reason, I suck at sniper rifles, but sniping with a rifle without a scope, I fucking am amazing. However, I still prefer to run around and perform spray and pray, because that's the best thing I've learned in any of these games. That being said, I had a hell of a lot of experiences where people would bitch me out. People would complain to me. They would tell me, you suck. Oh my God, what the hell is your problem? This guy is running around with a machine gun and he can't hit shit. And it was hilarious to me, but it also was like, oh man, it's like these guys are just lighting me up. They're putting me on the spot. I know I suck. There's just nothing I can do about it. All I can do is just keep playing and hope to get better. But it was funny to me because I never got really pissed off. There were a few times I started to, and that was usually when one player would single me out from everyone else. And usually they would start taunting me. And the thing that got me about that though was because I want to say it's because of how I learned to play games from the start being on Xbox Live up until say less than a year later. Just in general, playing with people being assholes, people being trolls, and sucking at video games. You learned that once the match was over, you could get into a whole new group. So all the fuckwads in the last group that were giving you shit, they're not going to follow you. Unless you happen to stick around with that group. But normally it wouldn't happen. Everyone would go their own magical, mystical way. And if not, if somebody wanted to keep following you, yeah, they could. And you could just as easily put them on ignore. I never put anyone on ignore. And I had been tempted, but I never did. Just because to me, I started learning the fine art of trolling. And I started learning this because I grew up with cousins who did nothing but troll people. Their whole point and their existence has not changed, where these guys will still do their ancient art of pissing people off for entertainment. So it's from them telling me things like they know enough information on some topics to go into a bar, start a discussion that quickly devolves into an argument because it was fun for them, because they liked pissing people off. And it just made them laugh how quickly people could lose their shit. So from things like that, I learned if I put someone on ignore, that's going to make them happy because that's what they wanted. They wanted to know that they got to you and that they pissed you off to a point you had to put them on ignore. And to them, that's a score mark on their card. At the same time, you can still do it because, hey, you're being an asshole, so fuck you. Everyone takes it how they do. But those guys, generally for me, I didn't want to give them that pleasure. Same as I didn't want to give them the pleasure of cussing them out. So thank God for the mute button on a microphone, right? Man, that's good rum. Oof. So anyway, the thing is, there were some times that these guys would get to me. It was usually because they were following me around. Every time I'd respawn, someone was already there ready to kick my ass. But I never cussed them out. I never called them derogatory terms. All right. Never said the F word to them. I told them to fuck off, but you know what F word I'm talking about. And I never gave in that shit. Just because I knew if I did, I would just get more pissed off. So I had a novel concept where if I started getting worked up and somebody got me that mad that I lost focus and ended up doing nothing but dying and was absolutely useless to my team and the people that I was helping, myself as well, I just logged out. It's like I would just say, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to take a break. I'd go grab a Pepsi, go relax, play another game, listen to some music, jerk off, whatever works for you. And then it's like, all right, later that evening, maybe an hour later, 10 minutes later, next day even, just whenever the fuck you felt like it, go back in, go start playing again. And it was back to being a mix of, this is the most fun I've had in a long time, and this is the shittiest time I've had in a while. But that's just life, man. And that's what I learned with playing these games, that there's an old saying that I learned, especially when it comes to jobs and such, but it also, in this instance, we're applying it to video games. And it's simply, today is your day in the barrel. You want to know what that whole story means, look it up on Google yourself. But what it comes down to is some days you're just going to have the most amazing time ever, especially in a video game. You can find a perfect team where you're getting more kills than you've had in a while in those games. You're just absolutely dominating and wiping the floor because you got a solid team. Everyone's doing what they should be doing. No one's jerking around. No one's trying to impress anyone. And no one's leaving the match immediately because, oh my God, fucking fail squad, I'm quitting. And you might find yourself either possibly bad mouthing and trash talking the other guys because fuck it, yeah, why not? You did good, go for it. But those same guys that were doing amazing and helping you, next round you could be fighting against them. And then you realize, oh shit, I need to change or I need to up my game because I'm about to get my ass fucking ripped apart. Sometimes it happened, other times not so much. But it was still fun because you just had that moment of, oh shit, now things are getting real. It's like, okay, I gotta make sure I stay away from those guys because they know what the hell they're doing. But it's still fun. What's not fun is when you get fucking, I don't want to say dickholes, but douche nozzles. And well, that's not actually fair. You get people. You get these people, these players that care more about their kill-death ratios, that the moment they start to lose, they immediately start cussing out everyone on their team, and they're not even fucking around. They're being serious. People that will decide they're not going to contribute anything except telling you how fucking stupid all of you are and unskilled the entire team is. And you can tell by their voice, they are legitimately pissed off. Most of the time, they end up leaving the match. Which, hey, you know what? Good for them. Get the fuck out and let us have fun. Other times, they end up just getting more pissed. To the point they will put themselves on the other team the next match just as a I'm going to show you how this is done type shit. And most of the time they get their asses beat because they don't know what the fuck they're doing. But you get people like this that take things so seriously, not even just the KD ratio and shit like that, but they just can't stand the thought of losing in these games. And more so, they can't stand being troll bait, which all of them are. Every single person that takes these things seriously are absolutely troll bait, because that's what these guys want to do. They want to get to you. And if they see that you're taking this shit seriously, if they can hear you in chat, oh, God in heaven, are you going to have a fun evening, because they are going to just tear you apart. And deservedly so, almost. I say that because the era I grew up in gaming, like I said, you kind of got used to how things are. You got a crash course introductory into trash talking and trolling. So you know when people were fucking with you, and you knew when some people were taking things too seriously. Those people that take it too seriously were the ones that seriously needed to get the fuck off the game and go jerk off until they felt better. Or just not play the game at all for the rest of the frickin' day. Because those people are the ones that scared other gamers. Those people that start ranting and raving, screaming like lunatics. Those motherfuckers, those are the people that need to back the hell off and just chill. Like, seriously, take a fucking chill pill up the ass if you have to, because, you know, sometimes it gets there quicker. It's what X-Lax is for, and it works efficiently, trust me. But still, those people are what piss me off in games, because those people are the ones that ruin the games. But more importantly, and why I wanted to make this rant, those tend to be the people that decide to do something that I still can't really wrap my head around. These are the people who decide, I'm going to go, and because I lost this game and you people made fun of me, I'm going to go shoot up a business. I'm going to go shoot up a school. I'm going to shoot people at a fucking gaming competition because, oh my God, I needed this in my life and I can't handle anything else. But even going away from the extreme end of the spectrum and going into the people that will swat you, it's like, that still is fucked up to me. It's like, what kind of state do you have to be in, state of mind, that you decide, because I lost and because you mocked me on microphone in game, I feel the need to call SWAT. I need to call the police department and tell them that you have your family hostage, that you've killed people in your home, and I'm going to send them out to you. It's like, fuck, man, when I played, the worst you had to deal with was people in like fucking Anonymous sending you free boxes from UPS and shit. It's like, that is more something you can deal with, having the fucking postman bringing 20 fucking boxes to your house, or even a dozen couple free samples of condoms. Which, I mean, you know, thank you. I appreciate that. Just not anymore. But I left gaming on Xbox way, way before that shit happened. And it wasn't because things were getting intense. It wasn't because things were getting too spicy for the pepper. I got out of it because I just stopped giving a shit. It's like the games just weren't fun, but I also started playing MMOs more. In fact, I started playing Star Wars Galaxies and EverQuest 2. They were just fun games. It was something, they're called sandbox games. And it was like free roam, do what the hell you want to do. No one's rushing you to complete any mission or get to this level. Take everything at your own pace. It was the most relaxing, chill thing imaginable. And I fucking loved it. It's kind of like what I got when I started playing Red Dead Redemption 2. It's one of those, yeah, during the beta, before they made a lot of changes, you ran into a lot of fights, but you could still avoid those. You could still chill out and just do whatever the hell you want to do. And I like that. I like being in chilled environments. Much the same, I imagine, as some people just can't live without being on a PvP server. Because PvP got a PvP. And I mean, I've been in a PvP guild before too, and they were pretty massive. There was Fist of the Empire, and we had over 900 plus members active. Most of the people on there were active or former military, law enforcement, and so on and so such. But it just kind of got a little too much. You know, it's when you logged in, you had to go into voice, and every time a new game was coming out, you were expected to buy the game so you could all play it together. And I just got to a point where I wanted to enjoy the games I was playing, especially if I'm going to pay a lot of money to play those games, versus power leveling just to dominate everything. But I left on good terms with those guys, and they're good guys. There's a lot of good people in there, and I've been in a couple guilds on and off, and honestly, there's a lot of good people in a lot of those games. But just as there are good, there's also those same people, even in MMOs, that take things far, far too seriously. And again, just need to chill out. Because I'm trying, like a lot of these rants that I do before I started recording them, it's trying to understand how people get to that point and why. You know? It's just trying to understand, like even, especially with games, being a gamer, it's trying to understand with my own relations on how I deal with trolls and trolling and losing and how others do, and just trying to get an idea in your head at what point did they just jump ship from this is a fun game to just stressing yourself out to a point that you have to destroy things and destroy lives. Because that's what you're doing. That's what these people are doing when they get to that point, when they start allowing themselves to get to that point. But that's what's sad to me, because the way I grew up, we were one of the first in our generation that the Nintendo Entertainment System came out. And when everyone got it, you had usually two games. It was like a combination of Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt. And I think the other big game that was out at the time was Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. And I mean, it was a fun thing, but our family still told us, you know, do your homework, then you can play video games. It's like, okay, cool. So growing up for me, I used to read a lot of books, but I also found I enjoyed playing video games more. So that's how I grew up. That's where I was at. I always had a console in our household growing up. And when I moved out on my own, I had two consoles on my own. And it's not just Xbox. I was a PlayStation fanboy as well. And I had a PC that I did some gaming on, but nothing serious. And as it stands now, I've got sitting under my TV an Xbox X1 or whatever, X-Bone, I guess what you're calling it. And I've got a VR PC. I don't have a PlayStation 4. I'm not getting a PlayStation 5 just because I've invested so much time in the Xbox that's kind of where I'm at. And I know that I don't want to get drawn into the whole exclusivity thing of, oh, well, if you get this, then you get to play these titles, which are amazing. I don't give a shit. And I'm also not going to do the PC is more superior to fucking console bullshit either, because to me, it is bullshit. If you want to get into that argument, this is the quickest answer I can give you to that, okay? Console and PC, it's all fucking preference to taste, all right? If you got the money that you can invest in a PC and keep up with that, go for it. If that's what makes you happy, go for it. If you don't want to mess with specs and building a PC or spending that kind of money, to play a game in 4K or whatever graphics you want to get, go buy a console. There's nothing wrong with it. Both are good. Both have their pros, both have their cons. As long as you're having fun, that's all that fucking matters in the end, right? But again, what bothers me about all this is just even like recently, me and my cousin, we had been playing Red Dead Redemption 2. And we had a really fun moment. We were out in the forest, and I know I've gotten off point, but fucking I'm drinking. But we went out in the forest, and we happened to get we came across some kid that wanted to join our posse because they were afraid of us teaming up on them and killing them. So we're like, all right, yeah, sure, why not? Join our posse. And that's when we realized that it was an actual kid. This kid was, Christ, they couldn't have been more than 12 years old, I think. Which is funny because the older you get, it really does kind of get uncomfortable. But I'm just like, hey, fuck it. They're having fun. They're cool with me as long as they don't start ringing into the fucking microphone and screeching to high hell. Because again, having to deal with that on Xbox, that's the most annoying shit in the world. But anyway, the three of us are running around, riding on our horses. We're heading to town. So anyway, this guy, he's riding toward us, and he said in a very dry, very monotone way, he just said, "Don't shoot at me. I'm not going to shoot at you. I'm just here to hunt." So I just immediately respond. I'm like, hey, I ain't going to shoot you. Go about your business. And my cousin joked about it. He's like, I don't know. But guy went on, didn't shoot at us, didn't do anything. We're going along, and suddenly we hear a shot fire off. We realize the kid in our group took this guy down. He took down his horse, and then he took the guy down himself. As soon as that happened, the very droll guy who's just like, I'm only hunting, I'm not going to shoot you, immediately turned from that into, you motherfuckers, I'm going to fucking rape all your fucking mothers, I'm going to fucking kill you. He started cussing out this kid, screaming at him about how he was going to butt fuck his mom and dad and then skull fuck him to death. And me and my cousin are just like, again, we're a rare breed, but we started just initially laughing, and we're like, dude, chill the fuck out. It's like, this is a video game. All right. That you just take a step back and chill, man. But no, he jumped right down our asses too. He's like, no, fuck you guys. He's in your fucking posse. You're all equally fucking responsible for this. I'm going to fuck you up. I'm going to fucking kill you all. Fuck this game. And we're like, again, just chill the fuck out, man. It's like we even looked at his horse. He had 3 pelts. He had a spare horse with him, and he was bringing, I'm trying to remember, he had a pelt on his horse. There was 2 on his horse. He had 1 extra. And the guy was just losing his shit over this. And he's like talking about how these were pristine pelts and how pissed off he was, but then he just rage quit. It's like, you heard him before he did. You heard him throw something down on the table and rage quit. And the rest of the evening, I mean, we got the kid out of our group because, like, all right, look, dude, we're here to have fun. If you're going to be doing this to people, let us know. So at least then we can have your back and join in and fucking killing people, because we loved going into towns and starting shit in bars. But it's like, if someone's being cool to us, I just, in general, leave them alone. My cousin, it depends how he feels. But the kid's like, all right, that's cool. I'm going to go off and do whatever the fuck he's going to do. So he did. And the rest of the night, me and my cousin just had fun messing with people, starting bar fights, making friends. But the whole rest of the night, I kept telling people about this. And they all just, it came down to 2 reactions where 80% of the people that we told this to just laughed, and they all said the same thing. Like, oh man, I was like, what was that dude's problem? Was it roid rage or what? Like, this is a freaking game. It's like, you can hunt and go and get pelts and make money other ways. a lot faster. It's like, what the hell is his problem? But the other part were people that were legitimately concerned about this guy. Like, oh God, I hope he's not going off and beating his girlfriend or beating his dog. And again, we're a rare breed. We kind of chuckled at that, but they just quickly with snaps say, no, we're serious. And it just started making me think again. It's like, is this where we're at? Where even in a video game, you just can't chill. And this is where things kind of split off into two different territories for me. And again, it's something I've noticed with a lot of games because my cousin, like I said, he likes to go and fuck with people because that's their entertainment. I did something that was hilariously fun in Red Dead where I just decided I am going to play this in kindness. So every time I approach people, I would just offer a wave. I would be very polite. And my cousin's like, you're going to get yourself killed. It happened a few times. Majority of the time, I made a lot of friends and it was fun as hell. But watching people is the main thing I would do. Listening to people having conversations when they don't realize their mics are open. And just in general, like people that would hunt you down and coordinate attacks in game. It's like, I like when people would work together as a unit. And if I could ever get my friends and family to act that way in a game, I would love it. Because holy hell, we just operate on pure chaos. But I would ask these guys about things like this a lot. Because it just started, like I said, just making me wonder, like, is this where we're really at in games? And they'd relate some stories where they're like, same thing, where they meet people that you know and you can tell they're trolling. And there's always going to be people that if someone's getting picked on, someone else might white knight and start standing up for that person and killing the person who's killing them all the time. It's like, that's fine. They don't give a shit. And you have other people that talk about their anti-troll defenses, which are things that you do learn as you go on in gaming. Like the whole, if you get mad at a troll, you're giving them what they want. You're feeding them. When trolls send you messages in game, like get good, oh my God, you suck, they're wanting you to cuss them out. Because the moment you start cussing them out, they know they've won. So people just found ways to combat it, where it's either you try being humorous, which I always love doing, and you try to make fun of yourself, like, yeah, I know I suck, but what the fuck, dude? This is the best I can do, which isn't good at all. So I give. And they normally will they'll usually say, all right, hey, it's been fun. Go and do your thing. And they'll leave you be. Because there's nothing to be had there if there's no bait for the troll. And most of the time, people are good natured about it. They might shit talk you. They might tell you how you suck. But then sometimes they might, not all the time, but sometimes they'll say, hey, good game. You're a good sport about it, so we'll leave you alone. And sometimes it's like, yeah, they're bragging. Other times it's just putting out a friendly wave. But you can interpret it however you want. But again, that's when you start getting problems with people that take that shit seriously, where it gets under their skin. They can't handle it. And it kind of gets me like, what happened to these people before? Like, have they always been this way? Have they not experienced gaming like this before? Is things just that shitty in your life? But then I realize even for myself, like when I get mad about something and then I decide to go in game, like, I mean, I've lost friends online left and right. Either people that just up and decide to leave, someone gets upset at a guild leader, or someone steals some girl they were interested online, or the girl they were interested online turns out to be a guy and they get pissed off at everyone and suddenly you're all the villains to them. It's like, I've had people leave and you end up getting kind of pissy yourself because you don't like losing friends, but you also don't like to see friends turn into enemies. So you want to go and do something to relax. Well, you can't play that game because that's where you used to relax, but it's a little tainted now. So you go elsewhere. And sometimes, yeah, it was hard to concentrate. And if I start sucking at another game while I'm pissed off, it's like, yeah, it's going to upset me. But I'm not going to start cussing everyone else out. I'm not going to start threatening their families and I'm certainly not going to decide because you pissed me off and killed me repeatedly that warrants me calling the fucking sheriffs on you, finding out where you live in the first place. It's like, that's just scary shit, man. And that kind of makes me even happier to stay the fuck away from things like Xbox Live. Or shit, just staying away from voice, period. Because shit like that does worry me. It's like, if that's a level people will go, not even because they're pissed at you, but just even to troll you now. It's like, holy fuck. It's like, let's go back to simpler times, simpler trolling. But goddamn, man. Because it's the same, like, I've seen so many stories online of people that are like, our child took their own lives because of internet bullies in a video game they were playing. And I know a lot of people know about the guy who lost the Madden tournament, the Madden sports tournament, and ended up coming back there and shooting people because he lost the championship. I think he lost sponsors or something like that. And that was all the guy knew. That was his whole life. It's like he was losing what he felt was his livelihood. And I feel bad for people like that, but someone's got to tell these people, man, there is far more out there that is so much worse and so much more life-shattering that you have not gotten to yet. Which, I mean, it sounds horrible to joke about, but it's true. I mean, that's something my mom told me a long, long time ago. Like in my 20s, I got to a point where I had an absolutely shitty job. I mean, I had to get a job, otherwise my ex was going to kick me out of the house we had when we were a couple. And the only place I could get a job at was this Italian restaurant. And I'm going to tell stories about these people later on as well. But they were going to pay me $7 an hour to wash dishes. And I was a dishwasher prep cook. And I still remember this because it will never leave me. There were more than a few times where for 2 weeks worth of work, I would come home with exactly $100 to $110 for 2 weeks worth of work. And I was just absolutely soul crushingly depressed. And even points when I would just flat out tell my boss, when he's like, why aren't you washing dishes? Why aren't you working? And I would tell him, because I was kind of stupid and ignorant, but I was being honest, that we didn't have any customers, so we didn't have anything to wash. So he would tell me, all right, go out and wash my car. And I would wash my boss's car. And it was bad to a point that we couldn't pay our bills. And we had to start playing the game of who can we pay and who can we call and beg for an extension. And I tried asking my parents. I hated doing this because I was kind of raised, you have to deal with these problems yourself, but I had to ask them for help. And at the time, they just told me, we can't help you out right now. We're sorry. It's like, we can't pay this for you. We can try to help you out, but it ain't going to be much. And I told them how dire things were. And my mom's like, hey, I feel for you. We've been there. And a lot of people have. But she told me that as bad as things are, and right now they seem as bad as they can possibly be. Nothing can be more terrible. Things can't get any worse than how you feel. But believe me, they absolutely can and will. Because you're going to find out once you get past this that it wasn't as bad as you thought. Because as bad as you think you feel right now, something else is going to come up and you're going to feel even worse. It's kind of an odd thing to hear, but it's true. It's being honest. It's just sadly how the world is. Life can suck really sweaty, old, gross vinegar balls, but there's usually an upside to it. You just got to wait for it. So it gets me that you hear stories about this where people would blame games for violence. And they would blame games for people going out and committing murder and shit like that. And it pisses me off. It pisses me off because I hate when people do that. Because talking to gamers, actually gaming with gamers, everyone's there to relax and chill out. People that are beating the fuck out of prostitutes in Grand Theft Auto are doing it because to them it was funny that you could do this in a game. It's not because they hate women. It's not because they want to beat and kill and rape prostitutes. Okay? It's just the absurdity of the game. It's kind of like Tarantino films and the absurdity of the amount of violence in his films. He has said before himself, the violence in films, if you can't go over the top in a movie, what the fuck's the point? It's all fantasy. So it's like, absolutely, you should do the best you can and the most you can with fantasy. It's the same thing with Grand Theft Auto, with people that are bitching about the game. I don't support the whole series. There's a lot of those games I can't fucking stand. And I hadn't played it since the Vice City game because I just love the 80s shit in that. It was fun music. And then I got into Grand Theft Auto 5. And I enjoyed that because the characters were hilarious. The story was okay. But I just, in general, loved driving around the cities listening to music. And then it just turned from that into going on random shooting sprees at buildings and shouting things at characters that entertain me. Doesn't mean I'm going to go and do that shit in real life because I know the difference between fucking reality and fiction. But it's just, the point is you're relaxing with that shit. It's all meant to entertain you and relax you. There are some people that do take those things to an extreme, I will admit that. But by and large, there's a higher percentage of gamers that just want to relax, chill out, and veg in a video game. Because that's what they're fucking made for. They're entertainment. So when you have things like this, going back to something I said earlier, where I grew up learning to relax playing video games. That's the point I forgot. I grew up learning to relax playing video games. My older ex, this was way back, she was the opposite. For her, relaxing was keeping busy. It's reading a book or constantly doing something, cleaning the house, finding something to clean, going out and doing something. She just could not relax. But to her, that was relaxing. It's like, to me, it's like, you're just working yourself to death. But to her, it's like, that's how she chilled out. So it's like, all right, that's her thing. Then she would jump on me because I played video games to relax. It's like, yeah, I could see her point in the argument. I could. But you sacrifice stuff. I would do things. I would play video games less for her. She would do less that stuff and watch movies with me. You found common ground. But it's still something to this day I still do. Whenever I get upset, whenever I just need to relax, vegetate, calm myself, I jump in a video game that has no purpose to it. Which is why I kind of keep bringing back up Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead Redemption 2. Once you play those games online, well, especially Red Dead Online, and once you've beaten Grand Theft Auto, it's just a free roam game. So knowing that I can get in a game like Grand Theft Auto, drive the fastest car I can, and not even stop for traffic and just let the car go, and then see what happens when you go to cinematic mode for the crashes you make in that game, it's funny to me. I love just taking the cars from some people, just running the cars off of buildings, over planes, grabbing planes and going on adventures with that. It's just fun to me. And it always makes me laugh. But, oh man, I need another drink. This is going to sound really... This is going to sound horrible. But I can't tell you again what I'm drinking because they don't endorse me. But I will say, for, what is this? This is a 750 milliliter bottle? Yeah, this is 750. For a 750 milliliter bottle of rum, only costing $7. This is amazing. And for people that ever wondered, if you ever get a chance to go live and work on any of the Caribbean islands, you can buy liters, gallons of rum for $5. It's amazing if you are so inclined and partake in that. Which again, it's kind of funny because I know this is wisdom in the bottle, but I actually don't drink that often. It's kind of a blue moon type thing, but it's fun sometimes. Really love spiced rum. Just has a nice flavor to it. But fuck, it's depressing to me when you have to take into consideration whenever you talk about video games, especially things like Grand Theft Auto or something, a shooter. It's kind of depressing because you realize when you talk about things like that online or even just in public, it's always going to come down to offending somebody somewhere, either because of articles that came out about it or things that they heard secondhand. If you played a video game and you hate it, I can understand that. That makes a lot more sense to me. If you hate something that you haven't played and you're trying to talk about something you haven't played, I'm not going to exclude you. I'm not going to hate you. I'm not going to say you're full of shit. I'm just going to say that I can see your point to an extent, but that's not how it is in the game. And I know that's kind of opening a can of worms, but fuck it. It's kind of worth it sometimes. Especially when it's something that you're passionate about. Do I think I'm ever going to understand how people can get to that point where they're playing a video game and instead of relaxing, they just end up getting enraged? They end up getting depressed? Not likely, no. Because it's just a new generation, I guess. It's just, stepping out of video games, it's like looking at other shit going on. You motherfuckers taking camera phones, fuck me, I'm old. You assholes taking video of every moment going on in your school lives and your work lives and shit like that. Holy fuck, am I glad that shit wasn't around when I was in high school. Because that would be fucking depressing. The worst we had to deal with were rumors. Like, in high school, fuck me. I was 14 years old, going on 15, and I had a receding hairline. No one else to our knowledge in my family had gone bald. I was the first lucky bastard to do so. And I hated it because, like, oh man, this fucking sucks. Because the way my hair parts, I used to do it like my dad's hair. So the sides are straight down, the top combed over to the right. And it literally became a comb over because I was losing fucking hair and you could see that I had bald spots, especially when it rained. It was fucking horrible. So yeah, people made fun of me for it. So I decided to combat it. I'm like, okay, I had really long hair, like hair past my shoulders. But when I started high school, I decided to try out for the football team. I went through hell, the 2 weeks of hell, and I decided to shave, give myself a buzz cut. When I did, that's when we started noticing, hey, there's a lot of chrome dome up on top there. And it just went downhill from there. So to save myself from people teasing me about that, I decided to just shave it all off, shave it right down to the bone. And that opened a new can of worms to me I was just not ready for. Can you guess it? I got labeled a fucking racist. I was immediately labeled as being part of a fucking skinhead movement when there was no fucking skinheads at our fucking school. And it was mainly because of one group of douchebags that would go around fucking with you and say shit like that. And from girls I dated in high school, I know there was one of them, a friend of my sister's, who told me that girls who would pick on her constantly tried suddenly acting concerned for her because they had heard from a girl that heard from another girl that I threatened to beat the shit out of a girl if she didn't kiss me on the first date. And I'm like, bitch, I haven't dated anyone in this fucking school except for someone who was my sister's friend. And past that, the other girl I was with was 2 schools the fuck over from these assholes because none of these people would talk to me. But none of that shit was true. But it always made me laugh hearing the shit people made up about me. But again, that's also because that's just how I came up in life. I just never took things people said about me seriously. I just would applaud you if you actually said something that was fucking original and I hadn't heard. Because, I mean, I was a chubby bastard. I wasn't like obese. I wasn't like Jabba the fucking butt. But I was a chubby dude. So yeah, I got made fun of for that. And I got called a lot of dirty shit. I just remember in high school, and it's funnier now to me thinking about it, aside being called an old man, I literally had people who said they thought that I was transferred from a prison to get my GTA, that I was brought in from prison. I was 30 or 40 years old. I was supposed to be getting my GTA, and I was an old guy trying to look like a fucking teenager or some shit. Then I heard people saying that I was a Satanist because I would wear blue jeans and a black shirt, usually a metal band. And it's kind of even funnier to me now thinking of all the people that walk around in that shit that nobody thinks twice about that. And there was the whole beating girls if they didn't smooch me on dates thing that went around. And there was even people saying that I was gay because they never saw me going to parties or dating anyone. And it's like, motherfucker, what do you expect when you get all these rumors going around where nobody wants to talk to you? You go around school not smiling, so people think you're a fucking serial killer, and nobody wants to date you, so now suddenly you're gay because, oh my God, they don't have a date. It's like, bitch, do you know why that is? It's like, fuck me running, man. But it was always funny to me. It's like, I just could never understand how these people came up to these conclusions and shit. But now it's like, just different generations, man. Because now you got people that are just going off. Fuck me. Even school shootings, Columbine happened when I was in my last year of high school. And even that just, to us, was like a novel concept that somebody would go doing what they did in a school like that. And we just were like, what the fuck was wrong with these dudes? But now just looking at what some of you people have to put up with, holy shit. It's like when I was getting out of my high school, they were just starting to put in security points where you had to go through metal detectors and shit to get into school. And this was in Stockton. And I was just like, fuck, man. I'm glad I got out when the fuck I did. But it's just like kind of looking at things like that and realizing what all these bastards have to put up with now. I guess I can kind of see where the rage comes from in video games. Because you guys gotta, I don't even know how old a lot of you are that are hearing this. I don't even know who the fuck is listening to this. But like in the early baby days of the internet, all right? Like we're going all the way back to old man online, all right? Back in my day when porn was not only free everywhere, but 10 adult websites all would post the same models on the same day. All right. That's how bad things were for how you had your porn choices. It's like you could go to 10 places and go, I've seen this already. I'm bored. But this is also a point when, and this is kind of novel thinking about now, just for how absolutely red flag this is, when you talk to people in chat rooms and you suddenly make someone laugh, you decide we're friends now, but because it costs so much to be online and they actually limited you to how much time you had online before they start charging you an arm and a leg, you would hand out your fucking address to people and your home phone number without a second thought. It's like there were a dozen people that I know of in 1 year that I gave my number and address out without a second thought because you just didn't have the creeps and shit you have now. So it's like looking at an innocent time on the internet when things were at that point. I mean, hell, even like thinking of like Kazaa and shit like that and LimeWire when you used to download movies and music and viruses and shit. It's just thinking back to that and to where we are now. There are so much worse things out there now online. So with all that in mind, there's something that hasn't changed. And this is something I did a paper on, multiple times. And that's the secret voice you get online. And it's, again, I've written a lot of papers on different sides of this, whether it's been on the romantic side, falling in love with people, being able to express yourself online. It all comes down to one thing. Online, you don't have a face. All you have is a screen name. So in a sense, you're nothing but a bunch of numbers to someone else on another screen. You're just two monitors looking at each other. So for me, as an introvert, I was able to express myself so much more online. I was able to take my time and say things without stumbling with my words. Because that's something I've still kind of struggle with, where I think something in my head, but then my mouth moves a hell of a lot faster than I'm thinking, and what was supposed to come out smart and as intellectual, it comes out sounding like shit. And that's even when I was sober, okay? But again, that's just how it works. So online, I was able to articulate myself. I was able to say more accurately what I wanted to say and what I wanted to get across. I was able to share a lot of deeper thoughts I had. And it made me a hell of a lot of friends. And like I've kind of told people off and on, all the years I've spent in MMOs, gaming, and talking to people online, I've stopped a handful of people from taking their own lives. I've talked them out of killing themselves. I've had to talk to people 3 times, 2 times my age, who've had their hearts broken by someone online, and try to tell them how to deal with heartache, and worked. It's like, it amazes me how much more I felt like an adult helping other people that in real life, I would not know what the fuck to say to these people, because I'd just be so afraid of sounding like an idiot or just being awkward and not saying the right things. But being online gave me a voice. It gave me the power to say those things. And at the same time, like they usually say, it's a double-edged sword. For all the positives that you can get from that, from all the confidence that can give you, there's also the other side to that. And that's why I said I wrote about the pros and cons of falling in love online and relationships online. Because in the real world, we put up walls, we put up defenses for ourselves. And that's extending past, relationships, love. It goes into all aspects of life. We put up a lot of defensive barriers. But online, we lose those barriers. You really have to set up new ones, and you have to defend those, because people can and will find ways to get past that. And once they do, it's like striking a gold mine, or a gold vein rather, that you found a fresh nerve and something that you've already experienced before: depression, heartache, pain, anger, joy, love, bliss. All of it's amplified because it's like it's the first time it's happening to you, which technically it could be because it's online. But it always hits us harder than it does in real life because it's something new to us. And again, it's something you have to grow a thicker skin for. It's something you have to grow better defenses for. So looking at things like that, realizing how things were back then like that, it kind of makes me feel like that's, again, possibly what a lot of these people are going through. You're coming into a new world online. You're gaming online. You can see the fun. You can see the bad in it. You can see the good times, the bad times, happy times, sad times. But eventually, if you don't know how to handle it, if you haven't tried, it's like, yeah, it's going to get to you. And it absolutely could. But again, to the extreme point that people commit violence, I still can't see that. I can't see something getting to that point. But again, that's because for me on my side, again, if I get worked up, I step away from the situation. I just walk away and relax. And I realize now how that sounds because I used to have moments like that with even my parents. We all did, where it's like you want to be mad because you don't understand something or you're upset. And the last thing you want to hear is somebody telling you to calm down. And this is coming from a guy who's had 3 exes who all had PTSD and anxiety. And every one of them has all said to me, when I'm upset, when my anxiety gets to me, do not, under any circumstance, tell me to chill out because that's just going to piss them off even more. But a lot of us are that way anyway. So you kind of have to learn new approaches. It's like if you can't say that, you find a nicer way to put it. But it's still something that, to me, I can say all these things. I can preach to you what you can do, what you should do, what you can try. Doesn't mean you're going to actually do it. Because for all the fuck I know, you don't care. It doesn't apply to you, or what you're doing works for you, in which case, kudos and awesome points to you. Or like it may actually do, it may just come off like a parent telling you this. And you don't want to hear it from a parent. You want to hear it from a friend because you're more likely to listen to a friend than you are a parent. But that also is something that just comes with age. We all learn that. It's just I wish that people could understand that a lot sooner. And this is I need a drink for this. But I also, man, I love how this stuff tastes. And I shouldn't say that because it makes me sound like an alcoholic. And I'm never so happy. Holy balls, that's good. The line we kind of get to that's a minefield. And why I really hate discussing online with people this. Because I really think it's wrong. Part of the reason I wanted to do this was because of a video I watched a couple days back that stuck with me. It was a video by a YouTuber named Rags. And it was them talking about a fucking live stream show that came out called Bully Hunters. And it was some, God, I'm not even going to go into it. But the whole premise was if you're a woman, you're being bullied online, you call these people up, they get in your game, and they take care of a bully for you. Which I gotta say I had to agree with them. It sounds like something from South Park, which kids that age when they were 12 would come up with of, we need to start a bodyguard program where kids can pay us to go and bully the bullies. It's just, you're not helping things. To me, it's like in gaming, you're not helping anything by doing things like that. Having somebody else fight your battles, that's all it is. And again, this is going to come off as boomer not understanding the new generation. But I don't give a fuck. It's just, to me, we were always told to deal with things. It may not have been the best way to approach things, but we're able to deal with them. You grow a thicker skin. You learn to say tough shit. Or my favorite saying growing up, tough titty, said the kitty. And it's just one of those things, man. You gotta, if you don't fight your own battles, if you don't learn to not take things personally, you're going to have a bad time. You know, I've had bosses that exemplified this, which I know, again, I'm getting off topic, but who the fuck cares? We're already at an hour and something. But it was a guy I used to work for named Dave. And everyone at the market hated this guy because if you screwed up, even if it was on night crew, he would jump onto the PA system. He wouldn't name you, but he would say shit like, whoever was in charge of stocking aisle 18, you messed up and you need to go back and fix your mistake. And he would do this knowing it would embarrass you, knowing that the customers in the store hearing this are going to chuckle about it, and they're all going to look for the employee who goes off that way and laugh, knowing that you're going to get your butt chewed out. And sure as hell, as soon as you got to that aisle, he would be waiting for you or just rounding around the corner to then tell you how you screwed up. And the problem is that for people that weren't used to this, for anyone in general, they would take what he would say and how he would do it as a personal insult to them. They took things personally. They did not, however, usually take it as a criticism. And looking back now, this is something that, again, it's not funny to me. It's about approach. Was I started realizing when I would explain this to people, especially younger people we hired on, I would just take them aside after they got yelled at by him, and I would tell them, look, he's a hard guy to get to like. It takes about a year for him to look at you as a friend and someone he can talk to. Believe me. But the main thing is stick to your job, listen to what he's saying, don't take it personally. It's just criticism. He's not saying you're a horrible person and you're not going to have a good life. Just do better at your job. Learn your job, learn what you're supposed to do, and you'll make him happy. There's always things you can do to make it better. And sure enough, if I told them this, they got through fine. No one was fired unless they decided this just wasn't a job for them, which good for you getting out, because retail of any field sucks donkey balls. Okay, dealing with people's shit is not for everyone. I dealt with it because I was blessed with working in a kitchen as my first job. And I tell people religiously, if you want to learn how to deal with any kind of crisis in life, go work in a fucking dish pit. Go work as a prep cook. Because if somebody hates you there, they're going to let you know. And the same person that could end up throwing a plate at you or cussing you out of the kitchen will be the same person buying you a drink at the end of the night. And you learn a lot more, and it was happier for me. I love that chaos and those crazy assholes, which there were a lot of crazy assholes. But getting back on point, I think it's better when people deal with things themselves, where maybe you can have people to help you with that, to understand that, versus things like paying or calling people up and saying, hey, beat the fuck out of this guy online for me, okay? Or, hey, this guy will not stop killing me. Fucking go hunt their player down. Things like that, you're just avoiding the problem. It's like the better option of that, just leave the fucking situation. If you're in a matchmaking game, leave the fucking match. Put people on fucking mute. Do shit like that. It's a hell of a lot easier and better because you might actually improve after it versus feeling that you need to find other people to do shit for you. I'm not going to say it applies to real life. I'm not going to say that you're going to spend the rest of your life doing shit like that. Though there are people that really will do that shit. Because you got to find a safe space, I guess. And again, not going to knock those people, not this time. But we'll get into that eventually, I'm sure. But yeah, I really think if you learn to handle things, it works out better for you in the end. If you realize the power you have online to just walk away from a situation, you'll be a lot better off for it versus letting shit get to you to a point you feel you have no choice but to end your fucking life or worse, kill other people. I mean, again, that's just such a fucking extreme. I can't imagine what type of bullying you go through online that would get somebody to that point. But again, it's not my world. I'm not a part of that. So I have no idea the shit people are putting up with. I could be talking out of my ass for all I know. I just firmly believe that I'm not until proven otherwise, which I'm open to have those discussions. I really am. But I understand that some people feel hopeless. They feel that there's no way they can be helped, that there's nothing anyone can do to help them, that they have to rely. Well, let me say that again. They can't help themselves and they feel they need somebody else to help them. that to a point is understandable because we all need help at some point in time. It's like someone told me before, even Superman needs saving sometimes. It's just, I don't believe, and we're getting to a point here, I just don't believe the answer to a lot of this is stricter policies for online gaming. I don't believe the way to handle this is punishing severely bullies and trolls online. But that also goes to a certain extent. If you're actually out looking to harm people, looking to make people so miserable that they'll never go online again, or worse, kill themselves, then absolutely you need shit done to you hardcore by the fucking cops. You need to be taken offline. But to say that everyone online who bullies you, who trash talks you, especially let's not even say bully. Let's go to trash talking. That's simpler. If you say everyone that trash talks you online, everyone that follows your character and just kills you, the harder you try and the more mad you get because you can't focus, that's just online gaming. And if nobody told you about that, well, you're welcome. It's just a part of what's out there. Does it mean that you can't work in this world, that you can't function in it? No. Does it mean you have to cancel your subscription to that game? No. It just means you have to find a way to deal with it how you see fit. I just don't feel that you have to walk away from the internet or walk away from a game you enjoy because of one douchebag or douchette. You know, it's gender knows equality online when it comes to being an asshole. But I don't even know anymore, man. I just feel that people can learn to deal with these things and should learn to deal with these things. Because if you do, it will empower you. You will feel better for it. If you can improve in a game, you're going to feel better for it. You're going to know where your skills are. And you just got to learn not to take shit so seriously, let alone literally. If someone is telling you that they're going to rape your face in a video game, they're not going to knock on your door and they're not going to do that shit to you, okay? Unless it's an actual stalker who's been saying it religiously to you and messaging you a lot of volatile shit. Then I would say, yeah, you might want to call the cops on somebody like that. But just knowing the difference between trash talking and trolling, learning not to take it personally, that goes a long way in understanding how things work. And if it's too much for you, just walk away. Because that is one gaming instance. Okay, let's say a team of 10 people each side, 20 people. If 2 people out of those 20 are absolute numbnuts to you, who just love nothing more than making you cry, all right? 2 people out of 20. Those are good odds. 2 assholes that'll be out of there the next match. 2 assholes you can put on ignore. 2 people you can just walk away from, and an hour later, with all the millions of people playing on Xbox Live, on the PlayStation Network, on MMOs, on all these servers, you're not going to run into them again. It's very unlikely. You might, but if you do, chances are they've been trolling so many other people, they're not going to give a shit. They won't even remember you because they don't care. They don't have you on a list of people they're looking to fuck with. If they do, take comfort, take solace in knowing those people have far too much time in their lives that they devote their lives online to remembering the people that they troll because they have nothing else to do. You, on the other hand, have many other responsibilities and things you can do and do. Which honestly, that's always bugged me too. Like people that play a game that took 5 years to make and they rush through it in 5 hours and then they just say how boring it is that they paid $60 for a game that you rush through and don't give a fuck about the story. God damn, what the fuck's wrong with people? That's a rant for another time. My main point again, was just rage in video games, and how people translate that rage from their lives into video games and then take rage from video games into their real lives. I'm not out to play Dr. Phil. I'm not going to give you Jerry Springer's thoughts on it. I'm not going to tell you how to solve it. I just share with you my thoughts on it and how I've handled it over the years. Maybe it works for you. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe you find your own way to handle that shit. I just don't like when people equate all experiences online to single matches, to something that may only happen 1 out of 15 matches in a Call of Duty game or a Battlefield game or a League of Legends game or fucking Overwatch, which I've never played Overwatch. I just, God, I have not played a team kill game in a long time. But that's neither here nor there. Oh, that's a strong one. Well, where can I take this now, right? Because I'm not trying to make these. I'm not going to stretch these out because holy hell, I still can't believe how long we went in the first rant I did. And even funnier about that, the first rant was all about my dad and his passing. And there's still things that I'm thinking of like, God, I should have mentioned this. Man, I could have gone on about that. I could have made that 2-hour video, that 2-hour rant, easily made it into 3.5, 4 hours. It would have been like a fucking EFAP episode, which I'd be fine with because the more shit I have to say, the funner it is to me. Even if nobody hears this, even if it's just me talking to myself, it's just me spitballing my thoughts and paying them out to you, the bartender. Because it's up to you what you take away from it if you take anything away from it. Maybe you think I'm talking about my ass. Maybe you think there's something in there. Or I'm just an alcoholic trying to disguise it with a podcast. You just don't know. In all honesty, I just really sincerely hope that things improve. Because there's far worse things out there in this world than people online. There's a lot more shit going on out there that's worth being scared over than somebody telling you you're a raging pussy in a game. Which even that, I haven't heard somebody say in a long time. Because people just tend to, well, how do I put it? One troll trolls and other trolls listen to this troll's trolling and decide to troll how they saw that troll trolling. And soon all the trolls are trolling what they heard from one troll trolling because it sounded fun when they were trolling. So it just comes down to one person said something funny, so everyone else wants to be that person to say the funny thing and get people to laugh. It's just something online that hasn't changed no matter how old you are. Actually, a simpler solution, I think, would be if people just stopped playing things like League of Legends and Call of Duty and shit like that, because fuck, these games need to die already. Like, seriously, they have not been good for a while. And especially the perks they put in those things, holy fuck. Some of the maps used to be fun. I used to love playing Call of Duty 2. I loved a lot of the maps back there. But what I loved, especially in something like that, before I got into the whole Battlefield's better because it's more real, was I really loved playing a game when you could tell somebody had been playing Halo 2 for too long and they think that they can Halo jump in Call of Duty. And it would be the funniest shit because they're expecting to fly back 20 feet in the fucking air and all they did was jump back less than a foot. And you just aim, take fire, and boom, you got a kill for your team. It's just the funniest thing. Next to suicide bombing, running in with a grenade into a place where people are trying to capture a flag. But that is off point. But who gives a shit? Where even are we at this point? I'm just rambling. So maybe that's a good point to end this. Yeah, probably. I'm just trying to think before we go because I want to make sure, like I said, there's no structure to this, which I know would help make it more coherent and probably a lot better quality. But I'm just trying to think other experiences I can try to relate to you all. Something more I can say on the matter and get it off my chest. But there's really not. It's kind of hard to do just because, like I said, I'm just so dismissive of a lot of the shit I would go through online because I realized you didn't have to sit there and take the trolling. It's like especially like in Red Dead Redemption 2, there was a lot of new age trolling in that game. And it was a lot of things I would have to teach my cousin, but it was also fun things because he loved. Like he would just drop into towns after looking at the maps to see where the most amount of people were, because that would mean there's fights going on. And he wanted to have a reputation for being an asshole. And he really worked at it. There would be people in posses that were running missions, and he would just fuck with them immediately. Throw dynamite, blow up stagecoaches, steal mail, shoot your horse, lots of things like that. And I always knew about this because he would always tell me, hey man, you got to get here. There's a big fight going on. I learned I didn't have to ask how the fight started because it was always him. And like I'm trying to make a custom here, I'll always end these with a story of some kind. So this is a story I'll leave you all with. And it was one of my cousin's crowning achievements. Something we used to love doing to pass time in Red Dead Redemption Online is we would go and find people who were fishing. And we wouldn't snipe them from the rocks. That was kind of a bitch move. What we would do instead is we would walk calmly and politely up behind them if we could. Or my cousin would approach from the side on his horse. And we would play what's called game wardens, where we would just we would ask them in voice, it's like, y'all got your fishing license? And then immediately chuck dynamite at all of them. And then we just take off for the hills and start shooting from secure spots. It was always funny because most of the time those people would laugh. But then other times people were like, all right, you guys want to fight? Okay, let's get in a gunfight. It was the funniest thing. But one day I get a text from my cousin and he's like, man, you got to jump in this game. I got a hell of a fight going on. So I'm like, oh God, all right. I ain't doing anything else. So why not? Let's go lend a pistol to him and help him out in game. So I get in and I join his server, join up with him. I transfer over to the town he's in. And immediately I get killed. As soon as I respawn, I get killed. My cousin is laughing his ass off the entire time. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck is going on? I knew he pissed these people off because it was a posse of 5 people. All of them were using the varmint rifle. If you're not familiar with Red Dead Redemption 2 online or just Red Dead Redemption 2 in general, get fucking familiar with it. But the varmint rifle was notorious, and it still is, I think. I haven't played in a while. But it was notorious because it would always aim, if you were close to the critter you're trying to shoot, for the head. And that would instantly headshot whatever you aimed at. People found out it worked the same on players and NPCs, where if you aimed high enough and it aimed at their head, boom, headshot, they were dead. You could upgrade that gun, make it more lethal. It was guaranteed headshots on the first try, unless your perks helped you stay alive a bit longer. 5 people against 2, all of them using the varmint rifles. Very beautiful looking varmint rifles, by the way. And I asked him, dude, what the fuck did you do? And he told me they were a posse running a whole bunch of missions. And he ran around and he destroyed 2 wagons. Next time, he stole bags of money from them. Or it was bags of mail, I'm sorry. And he wouldn't even try to turn them in. He would just run around and hide with the bags. Let them kill him, then respawn, kill their horses, then kill them, grab the bags, and just keep running around to run the timers out. And if he really wanted to nail the point home, he would get the bag to the safe point where you're supposed to turn it in and then just wait there. Just wait with their bag so they couldn't turn a mission in. They couldn't do anything except abandon it. And he loved doing this. He did this 3 or so times to these people. And on the third time, their leader decided, all right, let's kill this asshole. So they all just went after him. They would search servers if he jumped to find him and leap over. And I know this because he said, all right, let's get out of here. This is getting insane. So we would pop over and go somewhere else. We even went to our camp and these people would find us and somehow they were able to attack us through the camp. There was a glitch or some shit going on at the time. We thought we were safe, but no, these motherfuckers were still shooting at us. It continued for an hour and a half that we could not play that game without these people finding us. Like they flat out said they had written down his name and mine to find us and keep killing us in that game. And the funniest thing that happened with all of this was my cousin, they started roping us. And they roped us both and started dragging us until we would free ourselves when they were dragging us by horseback and then rope us again. They would drag us to their fucking posse leader so that he could pop off with his pistol headshots at us to kill us, like he was teaching us a lesson. And the whole time, my cousin is near the point of pissing himself laughing. And all the while, I went from, okay, this is entertaining to, dude, we got to do something else because holy fuck, this is getting old. Even he was getting tired of it, but he still wanted to keep messing with people and doing shit until he realized, oh shit, these people are following us everywhere. So then it became an adventure of let's escape these people. Let's find places they can't go. Like going into a building and having them throwing dynamite and fucking Molotov cocktails to smoke us out of buildings and shooting off infinite ammunition, it seemed at times, trying to get us. I mean, it was so damn hilarious. And that's how he would have fun. And I would get dragged into. Sometimes it was fun. Sometimes I really enjoyed it. Then other times I'm like, dude, I just want to be peaceful, man. And that's part of the dichotomy we had with each other. He would be the guy that would always start fights, killing other players, stabbing them, judging their outfits and killing them, asking if they had their hunting or fishing license. I was the guy playing a snob. I would go into a town, go up to the bar, and I would ask for local small batch brewed whiskeys. And then I would go to the stores and I would say, I'm here to purchase your GMO-free farm-raised cheese. It's like, that's all I cared about was I wanted local made, farm fresh, milked cheese. I wanted it to be as organic as possible. And that's all I cared about. And then I would go and buy some almonds. I would ask them about where the local Whole Foods was. It was hilarious. People loved it. Some people thought it was stupid. But by and large, it would usually get the effect I wanted, which was other people coming into the general store and doing the same thing. And just talking in voice to me going, have you checked out their local brewery here? It's like, no, I have not. It's like, well, it's all brewed fresh and local by local people in the bar here. It's like, oh, we should go check this out. And it's like, oh, yes, it seems to be most popular with this town. And looking at fashion catalogs, judging each other's outfits and our holsters, gun belts. It was just funny as shit having people doing this and then resuming slaughtering each other in a mass murder rampage throughout the town for like 10, 20 minutes and then taking screenshots of all of us on fire, drinking at the bar and just having fun. It's like, that's what we did to have fun. And people always ended up laughing and friending us. And that's why I have over 100 something friends on fucking Xbox Live. And it's just, that to me is like, that's why I love playing games online. It's when you're there and you're having fun. Those moments far outweighed for me any moments where people would cuss me out because I don't have any skill. Or games like when I would play Sea of Thieves and somebody would steal my ship that I had 10 treasure chests on, where I knew I should have turned it in earlier because I was playing on my own or playing with 3 other people, and suddenly there's a ship you didn't see coming in and sinking you and taking away all the shit you stole. And yeah, you can get mad about it, or you can just think, man, shit, well, we'll do better next time, I guess. And then you go back to work on it. It's like that's gaming to me. It's like you don't sweat those things because it's a game. You can walk away from that shit. It's always going to be there. It's not going to close. It's not going to tell you you're not good enough to be here, which is something I still firmly believe in. You are never not good enough to be somewhere. If you suck at a video game, I've been sucking at video games for years. I'm a full-fledged prostitute of sucking bad at video games. I still play them, though, because I enjoy them. I love being horrible. I love having the accuracy of a stormtrooper that people joke about. But I still do get my respect. I do still improve on a lot of things. Some games I'm a better shooter at than other games. Like fucking Red Dead 2, I'm pretty damn good in that. But I also have my moments where I can't shoot shit and people end up killing me as soon as I get on my horse. So, I mean, that to me, that's the fun. You have far more good than you do bad. And to me, you got to learn to balance that, because why lose something you enjoy because of 1 or 2 assholes? Not every day is going to be the worst day of your life in a video game. It's never going to be. You will eventually get better too. Whatever difficulty you played a game at, it's going to be challenging sometimes. It's going to suck. But if you keep going, you're eventually going to get past it. You buy a ticket, you get on the bus, you'll get there. And on that note, why not end it there, yeah? One last toast at closing time. Oh, man. I'll say it once more for anyone that just needs to hear it. Don't listen to trolls. Don't give in to trolls. Stop shooting up people in fucking schools. Stop taking nudes and sending them to fucking people, because yeah, they're gonna be out there for fucking ever. So what the fuck are you thinking of, you dipshits? If somebody tells you to get good in a game, fucking get good at your own pace. Tell them to go eat a dick. Don't cry about it. And certainly don't go looking to hire people to do the fighting for you. You don't like someone talking the way they do to you online? Don't listen to them. Go to the next fucking match. If you're sucking horribly at your game, go to another fucking match. You'll have good shit to do. Actually, I kind of take that back because I just covered all that. I'm just fucking with you. Things get better in life, trust me. And nothing is worth getting so worked up and pissed off over in a video game that you have to do shit like that. So, time to close up. Time to end this rant. I don't know if it helped anyone or if it just helped myself get this shit off my chest. I don't care, because I enjoyed it. And I am enjoying the hell out of this drink. So just as we began the night, we're going to end it with the same toast. To you and to yours, may you all have a long, healthy, wealthy life filled with love and happiness. Yourselves, your families, your friends, your loved ones. Oh, what does Jerry Springer used to say? Be good to yourself and each other. Yeah, whatever. Just, I don't care. We're done. Let's toast. Oh, mama. That is a nice burn. Anywho, I'm going to get out of here. I don't know what you can expect from me next. Although I did get in the mail my 4K copy of Jaws. So I think I'm about ready to tackle those 4 movies. And there's no way I'm giving Disney fucking $300, I think it is, for a 4K box set of one good trilogy, an okay trilogy, and an absolutely shit fuck trilogy. You can decide which ones I'm talking about for yourselves. And I'm certainly not going to pay 35 fucking dollars retail for each one of the ones I want. So instead, I'm going to use Disney Plus, and I'm going to be going through those movies because I got to say goodbye to Star Wars. And I think I'm finally ready to do so. I'm not going to go to a Plinkett level of talking about those films, but I am going to say a few things because I got a thing or two to say about that. So anyway, we got that coming up, Jaws coming up, and whatever the hell else comes to mind. Until then, people, get the fuck out the bar because it's closing time.